I have been receiving a lot of questions from viewers who have been watching my videos on how to convert certain dirt bikes into supermotos, or basically any motorcycle that has a spoked wheel. Now, the bikes I covered are mostly the common dual sports like the Honda CRFs and XRs, Yamaha WR and XTZ 125, Kawasaki KLX 150s, those things. Now, I would like to tell you what size rims, tires, spokes to use on every motorcycle that has a spoked wheel out there. But that would be impossible unless every manufacturer out there gives me a bike to tinker with. Now, in this video, I will give you tips and tricks on what to do if you plan on building a supermoto or changing the size of the wheels of your bike, regardless of brand, make, model, whatever. Stick around because this might help you. So the things I'm about to say is not rocket science. These are practical tips I learned myself with a lot of trial and error. These things work for me, but should be taken with a grain of salt. Now, there are a lot of things at play here, but I'll give you the most common things to consider. Alright, let's start with the tires, specifically fitting wider tires on your bike, because apparently that's a thing. If you want to know what is the widest possible tire you can fit on your bike without modifying other components, then you need to measure the gap between your front forks and the swing arm. Take, for example, this 2013 Yamaha WR250F. The narrowest part of the gap between the fork legs is where the fork seals go. In this case, they're about 115 millimeters apart. Take note, I'm using millimeters, not inches for this one. So the widest tire I could fit safely without rubbing the forks is a 110 millimeter wide tire. In this case, we will be using a 110 70/17 tire since we're turning this into a supermoto. Another example is my CRF 250L. The gap between the fork legs is 125 millimeters. This means I can fit a 120 70/17 tire, but I prefer a smaller one for the sake of clearance and agility. Now for the rear, and this is a tricky one, but I'll make it easy for you. First is the diameter. This bike comes stock with an 18-inch rear wheel. The total diameter with a tire mounted on the rim is around 27 inches. Now, if I put a tire that has a smaller diameter, I will have more swing arm clearance. If I put a tire with a larger diameter, then I risk hitting the end of the swing arm. Now for the width of the tire. I highly suggest you start your measurement from the chain or the sprocket all the way to the inner edge of the swing arm. In this case, this is the measurement. Now you have to give the tire some allowance from the chain and the swing arm so you won't rub your tire against them. So I'm going to deduct at least 20 millimeters or about 3/4 of an inch from both sides from our initial measurement. That is the maximum width of the tire we can put at the back. In this case, we are using a 150 60/17. By the way, the measurement of your tire can be found on its side. Most modern tires have this format in determining its size, and it is a mix of metric measurements, percentage, and inches. Now, the first number is the width in millimeters. The second is the sidewall height or aspect ratio, which is measured in percentage in proportion of the tire's width. Now, the third number is the rim size or diameter, which is in inches. Take note, not all tires measure exactly the same. Some differ in actual measurements. For example, a Pirelli Diablo Rosso 3, that is 150 60/17, is slightly wider than the IRC Exacto NR88 of the same size designation. And a Shinko Verge R016 of the same size has a slightly taller sidewall. So take note of that. Okay, now for rims. What size rim should you be using? Well, it depends on what you're after. A wider rim allows you to use a wider tire, of course, but it doesn't mean you have to use the widest rim out there. Clearances also matter, and this will dictate how your tire's profile is going to be. If you put a wide tire on an undersized rim, your tire's profile won't be at its best. Now, if a tire is too narrow for the rim, then you run the risk of stretching the tire out of proportion. Now, to make things easy for you, have a look at this tire size and rim chart for your reference. It shows the best size rim for the tire you will be using. Now, since we're already talking about rims, here's something that you need to think about before buying a rim of your choice. Now, you have to look at the number of spokes that your hub uses. This is plain common sense. If your hub has 36 holes for the spokes, then you need a rim that has 36 spokes also. I have seen a lot of people buying the wrong rim for their bike, and I tell you, it's a lot of work to get them laced, and using the wrong rim for your hub is also very difficult to arrange and true. My advice is count the number of spokes that your bike has before buying the rims, please. Now, in the case of this Yamaha WR250F, we used a 3.5 by 17 rim at the front and a 4.25 by 17 rim at the back. Basically, the gold standard for a full-size Supermoto conversion. For a detailed and visualized tire and rim matching video, I have also included a link in the description below. Alrighty, now for spokes. Now, it is impossible to enumerate all the required spoke lengths needed for all the bikes out there, considering also what size rims you will be using. Asking random people on social media or in real life might bring you some results, but that will take time. Searching in Google or asking ChatGPT for spoke dimensions for a specific bike might lead also to the wrong information. Now, nothing beats actual application. Now, to make things super easy on your part, here is what you need to do. Take your stock wheel, lie it on the floor or whatever on the table, then you place the rim you want to use on top of that one. For example, this is a stock Yamaha XTZ125 front wheel. Wheel diameter is 21 inches. Let's say I want to use a 17-inch rim. To get the spokes measurement for this rim, simply measure from the hub to your new rim. Use the existing spokes as a guide, and there you have the required length of spokes for the 17-inch rim. Now the same goes the other way around. Let's say this 17-inch Supermoto wheel for a CRF 150, and I want to go back to an 18. Place the 18-inch rim over that one, then get the spokes measurement. Now, speaking of spokes, how about lacing and truing them? Well, to be honest with you guys, I'm still working on this skill. It's not something anyone can master overnight, and it requires a level of patience only a few people have. And I, myself, am super busy with other things aside from the shop. So I'm not going to discuss this subject for now, but if you're planning to build the wheels yourself, I encourage you to try it for yourself and see if you're up to the task. Anyway, changing the wheels of your motorcycle greatly affects the way your bike handles in different situations. In most cases, it does improve handling, but if you come up with weird combinations just for the sake of how it looks, then don't expect the best results. And just because you can put a larger or smaller tire on your bike, it doesn't mean that you should. Do your research first and avoid making expensive mistakes. Now that's all I have for you today. Like the video and subscribe to the channel if you found this helpful. And if you happen to be knowledgeable in this subject matter, leave a helpful comment for others to know about. As always, see you next time. Bye.